Okay, so I finally leveled up the Ruby Wand to where the gold increase was on it, and surprisingly, this actually makes me very happy. The enchants and elements actually still calculate towards it, so even though it only went up by 25,000, some of these went up by, this one almost went up by another 50,000, so the good news is that even if you enchant an item before the gold price goes up, it does still calculate it, which is awesome. So down here I have a lot of these. I've crafted just over 70 of them, and I actually ended up with 4 superior ones, which is, it's alright. It gives me a reason to use some superior elements and spirits, so that's fine by me. Unfortunately, yeah, that's not going so well. I have a lot of, yeah, I got a lot of work to do. I have not so many elements. I have fewer spirits to enchant these and start surcharging them. But it still makes me happy to know that even though these are increased, that the elements and spirits are still counted towards it. It makes a lot of things better. So that's for anybody that needed to know that. It's a good little test. I didn't know if it worked or not. On the other hand, I have lost my Royal Merchant Pass, so questing has now become a problem for me. It is not as profitable as it was before. So for anybody that's free to play or does not actually have the Merchant's Pass, it is a bit harder to play the game. I prefer to have it. I can't get it right now, but I do recommend it because the pass offers several benefits upon questing and other things. Back to the main issue right now is I have like no blueprints. My biggest problem right now are blueprints. I watched a stream, skimmed through the stream that Rob Mods had yesterday with one of his guildmates, and they honestly surprised me with how much they got from these chests. They opened over 700 of them with just keys, and I think most of them were, wooden, slimy, frozen, not so great ones, but once they started getting higher up there, they even opened like 70 golden chests from LCOG, and I was impressed by what they got. They got in total over 1,000 shards, ascension shards, and I don't know how many blueprints they got because they already had like the crazy amount. They almost have 25,000, and it's just ridiculous. I'm hoping that one of these days the game will also offer a conversion to them or make them sellable because eventually people are going to have hundreds of thousands of these with nowhere for them to go. So, I mean, either that or when Tier 10 comes out, make it a bit more expensive to unlock. I mean, make them useful because there's people that have thousands of these. I have none, though, so please keep stuff cheap for me. Um, wow, that's good money. So now that the Ruby Wands are ascended, or not ascended, their gold price is increased, I now have the opportunity to make just a little bit more money off of these, and I can still buy them off the market for a decent rate. So I'm happy about that because I get just that little bit more room of profit, and that goes a long way. Now that I'm only paying 200,000 for them, I can get up to 700,000 off of them. That gives me a profit range from what was 200,000 to now 325,000 because the spirits that I use also affects the price. And before they were upgraded, I was using Lizard and Owl because they're only 110,000 each versus Horse. I believe Rhino's even up there like 130,000, 125,000. It's more beneficial to use these different spirits now. So I'm happy to see that I can do that. The downside is it does take a little while to sell some of the stuff in your shop. So, again, if I cannot surcharge them, I will refuse them. My energy, as you've seen, has gone up since last time by quite a bit. I believe I was only at like 600 before then. But yeah, these racks and shelves and everything are going up now. And there's a bit of good news with this too, because once these get to about 800 or 900, once I start getting towards 1,000, I can actually start surcharging tiers 8 and 9. I don't plan to do that anytime soon, but it is still an option for me once I start making more money. I will have to start crafting the tier 9 runes, but for now, they're not an option. I still have to unlock the chiseled runestone, I believe, and I have to get Theodore up a few more levels. He's getting there, but he's still pretty low. I don't even think I think he's 11 or 12, and I still have to get him up to 15. Yeah, he's 12. He's got to get up to 17, so 5 more levels still, and I'm going to move that out of the way, because that's annoying. Um, So he's still got a few more levels to go up, and I'm just now going to be able to start surcharging this stuff. So I'm having a blast, even though I don't have the Royal Merchant Pass. There's still a lot of things you can do. It is a bit harder to get items from questing, and yes, it's annoying, but as long as you're keeping items to tier 4 or below when you're crafting, I will mass craft about 100 or 200 tier 4 items. I still get a decent bit of energy off of them. So it's not a huge waste of my time. It's just that that's time. I mean, I spend 30 minutes doing that. I'll get probably enough energy to surcharge 20 or 30 items, if I'm lucky. Depending upon the item I craft, of course. So just keep in mind that I try to stick with tiers 3 and 4. Just due to their low crafting time. I don't want to sit there and start crafting tier 4 and tier 5 items just to discount them. That's not worth it to me. I recommend for anybody that's trying to discount stuff just for energy, but still wants to make a decent bit of money. Let me see here. I believe it was the Scroll of Armor. This thing doesn't take long to craft at all. It's actually pretty cheap. It's 16 herbs after you ascend it once. I do recommend ascending it due to the armor component being removed. It saves you a bit of time, but its value is also still pretty good. It's still decent. I have also, of course, mastered this because it doesn't take a whole lot of time to craft. Only a minute 39 seconds, and I mean, you discount it for a good bit of energy. I tend to stick with the Scroll of Storms due to it is a bit longer to craft, but it's also worth quite a bit more. So, of course, I figured out the more an item's worth, the more you can surcharge or discount or surcharge it for. The energy cost goes up regardless. And I did ascend it once because that one emerald actually saves me like $5,000, and they're not worth $5,000 or 5,000 gold. So, yeah, I did that for that reason. Yeah, I could dungeon it, but I'm actually got some interesting news. And without the Royal Merchant Pass, I'm honestly having a lot more problems with dungeons. I'm still getting my materials as needed, but it's starting to annoy me because just this morning I did a boss fight and missed about 500,000 gold worth of items. It hurts. But again, it was some witches' hats. I could have surcharged a lot of... There was 10 of them. I could have surcharged them and made at least 500... Okay, not listening today. I could have made like 500k off them, give or take, if I had a surcharge or discounted them. And I would have discounted them, of course, so I would have got like 125k. It's not a huge deal, but it does add up. And that energy discount is 100, so those would have been huge. 5 of those, and I'd have been able to surcharge an item. So, it is a bit, it's a hindrance, but I still like the game regardless. And what's going on here? I have an item I can surcharge with. Look at surcharge. Wow! What the heck are you doing over there, Lumi? Yeah, do so. That's insane. I do want to also point out that I am not the leader of this guild. I am an officer, and the owner is Adrastus. We are trying to find more active people. I don't know if anybody's actually going to see this on Discord. I don't get a lot of views currently, but I do this because I like the game. So if anybody is planning to be active, we would happily have you in the guild. There's been a few people that have become inactive. We're not just going to kick them. That's not how we roll. But we do prefer to have active people. We are, of course, still focused on investments. That's with any guild. If you're not focused on investments, you're not playing the game. So some basic information I wanted to get out today on top of my little accomplishment there was that the basics of the game really revolve around your investments. Your net worth's important, but your investments that's what people are looking for when they want to have you in the guild. Your investments really matter. And I have a bit of information on getting your investments up. For people early on, limestone chests are the way to go. Once you can get to like tier 4 in the market, just buy those, or you have to be able to quest for them, of course, but you seriously need to have the Barren Waste unlock, and that does take a little bit of work, but once you start getting them and you can start selling them, you can sell them for gold. if you save them until a different time or sell them for gems and start stocking up on gems, this can be huge later in the game. I made this mistake. I could have been at several thousand gems right now. But if you sell them for gems at the right times during specific events, you can make a good bit of money. In terms of being able to turn those gems into gold, and a lot more gold. Once you hit level 50, you unlock tier 9 runes. These go for 3 to 4 gems each when you're on the offers tab. I do not request them. That's just going to cost you more, and I mean, it's going to be the same price, give or take. I mean, nobody's going to give you them for 2 gems when you're even paying 3. Everybody knows when you put something up for 2 gems, you're already paying 3. So your best bet is to buy them, even though it's 4 each. I try to look for 3s. That can be hard. So my idea for you is to save those gems up till later in the game and buy the tier 9 runes and sell them for gold. The other side of this is if you start saving up those chests for gems sooner, your expansions start to get really expensive. Let me show you. I believe mine takes 3,000 gems right now, and I have to wait till level 60 to get it. So I was told, according to a few people, that it's not worth that amount of gold. I think it's the same price, personally. If every gem is worth 2,000 gold, or 200,000 gold, that means I add 3 zeros to this. Yeah, the gems are more expensive at this point. That's what I see, because every gem's worth roughly 150 to 250,000 gold. So I think the gems are a bit more expensive. But the reason why people tell you to go for it this way is the time it takes to level up from 50 to 60. Not due to the value of the gems or the expansion. That's exactly why some people are like, why would you do that? Well, it seems like it's more expensive. Well, if you don't play the game often and you're getting gems, you can unlock that before you're even there. That's the whole point of the system. And for me, gems aren't too hard. I had like 150 yesterday. I made 29 today. I do spend mine on chests and stuff so I can open keys. I also spent some on limestone chest and runes yesterday. So yeah, I did spend about 155 gems yesterday, somewhere around there. I don't regret it, but I can't save gems. I'm not good at that, so that's not really my department. But I'm just telling you what you can use to make gems. Now, yeah, let's do this quest now that it's done. Been waiting for this. Earlier today, my first quest was gems, and I couldn't collect them, so I was a bit salty about that. It was only 4, but still, that's roughly 800,000 gold. So it's a bit annoying. Yeah, I could deal without those. I got the flawed runestones, that's fine. Even if you don't have the World Market Pass, still quest. The dungeon materials are the main concern. If you don't have to pay for dungeon materials, you're already in a better situation. Now, I'm going to go on to my last point of the video for today, and that is your inventory. I found out through this stream that you can open chests to go through your inventory and it'll go past it. I don't recommend doing that method, but there is something interesting about the inventory I found out recently. And through the guild perks, you can increase your inventory, but you can also have the chest do the same thing. But I didn't realize that dungeon components could go so high past what you need through opening chests. I knew that they could go past it. I knew that that you can't get them from the dungeon now, but I was doing a grab bag earlier today, and I believe it still gave me those items. So, I had a piggy bank that gave me the 40 overgrown vines too. So there are many ways to get resources, and there's no need to be worried about losing those resources from chests, lucky bags, and your piggy bank. Someone did ask about this. Those are the 3 sources that will not destroy or ruin it. You can also go to the Fortune Zone, but I don't recommend using your tokens to buy those. That's not really worth the Fortune Zone. So that's my opinion. Let's see what I get from here. Yeah, see, that's not really worth it. Even in my eyes, even the 72 wouldn't be worth it. I really wanted this. But I cannot afford that anytime soon. So, let's see what happens here. I also have found out, and this is going to probably surprise some people, but Autospin also seems to give me better odds when I'm going through that. I have had much higher luck using Autospin than spinning manually, and I don't know why. It's very annoying. I went through 20 tickets yesterday as I saved them up for a few days and manually spun them, and I got not even 500 tokens. I did the same thing a few weeks back where I only had 15, and I got way more than those 20 got me. It's an interesting system. I don't know why it works that way. Maybe it's just my luck. But, yeah, the Fortune Stone's not a place to be buying materials. That's just my opinion. And the Bear Spirit's only worth it to me because that's like 40, 50 gems I can get out of it. So, for me, it's worth it. So, with everything said and done, this was a pretty mixed episode. I just wanted to get out some information I've been figuring out. And I didn't know this about pets. This was something I thought was funny. But I found out that if you don't feed them, they actually lower the energy by half. Doesn't matter what you feed them, but the energy is reduced by half if you don't feed them. So, feed them. Pretty simple. I also found that the max level for them was 40, which I don't get why it has to be 40. I mean, I'm not going to keep feeding a pet once it's 40 to just feed it. Like, it's expensive. It's getting very expensive to feed these guys now. Like, I think altogether it was somewhere around 600,000 gold for the 3 of them. This one's also at a lower level than the rest of them because I just got them. But these guys are costing me like 200, 300,000 gold each for those last 2. So it's definitely getting more expensive. With that said, I think I'll catch you guys in the next one. Where is my... Okay, you're not wanting to sit there and work.